There is one story that changed everything for my brand. There was nothing fancy to it, it wasn't scripted, but it changed something that even all the sales pitches I've ever used could not even achieve. So there was one day like this, I received a DM, and I wasn't expecting that kind of message that day. It's just one of those days. And I remember the person was telling me, I don't know how much you charge, but all I know is I just want to work with you. It really took me by surprise, because for someone to send you a message and say they don't even know how much you charge, whether it's 10,000 naira, 1 million, or in dollars, and they say they don't know what you charge, but they know that they need to work with you. That was the kind of message I received on that day. Tonight, I'm going to share with you exactly what happened on that day, like the steps and the things that happened that led to me getting that DM. It's not exactly, how do I put it now? It's not like luck, it was more of strategy. So I'm also going to share with you that strategy and something that you can also implement for yourself. So the strategy that I used is what I would share today, and hopefully you will get something out of it and probably put it to use for yourself too. One thing I want you to note is that this particular strategy, after I used it, of course unconsciously, and later I now started consciously using it, it helps me to close that deal and consecutive deals without even opening my mouth or pitching as I usually would have done. Now, this is the structure I used, and it comes in 3 parts, so you need to stay to the end, because one part cannot work without two cannot work without the third one. They all work together. So if you know one part and you don't know the rest, then whatever strategy, whatever you apply will not be totally effective. So you have to stay to the end so that you can get the full gist of the structure and strategy I used, and follow exactly the way I used it, and then start implementing it for your own brand. Number 1 is the moment before. At that time, I was posting consistently. Like, I started with posting 7 days every week. I would post on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I never missed a day. And I did this consecutively for like 6 months. No, even if I'm sick, I will post. I'm not feeling fine, I will post. I'm hungry, I will post. I'm not in the mood, I will post. I'm happy, I will post. I'm sad, I will post. I didn't let anything get in the way. I was that focused because I needed to achieve my goal of maintaining consistency. But consistency too is not just the idea of just posting anything because you feel like posting. You have to be strategic. And it's not even just being strategic only. Whatever you post also has to have value, because at the end of the day, if you're posting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and nobody's getting anything from what you are posting, then you just practically be talking to yourself. So the thing was that I was posting consistently, and yes, I was having clients, but there was a problem because I wasn't getting what I was worth. There was a disconnect. Like, I felt I had so much value within me. I would post and people would come, for my services, but at the end of the day, they would be pricing me less than what my real value was. So I knew that something was just missing, something was off. So in the bit of posting consistently, I'm sure you guys, you understand what it means to have a content calendar. And me being me, I like to follow the rules. So I had a content calendar that I was following, like, back to back. I never went anything outside my content calendar. One day I was just frustrated and tired, so I just said, okay, today let me just tell a story. Let me just share a story, a real life experience, something that I had experienced that had been like a turning point in my life for me. And so I shared the story. Nothing salesy. There was no plan to sell anything. In fact, I was even tired of selling my market. So I shared this story, and okay, so I'm sure you're going to be wondering what the story was about. I remember one time when I was in university, a friend of mine invited me to come and eat free food. And me, I'm a foodie, I love food, especially when it is free. So I went, and it was very late in the night. She invited me for this meal. I think it was around 9 p.m. or so. Anyway, I got caught in a very, very funny situation where I almost got used for rituals. but God saved me that day. I was able to escape with my life, though I didn't get to eat the food I went out for, but at least I escaped with my life. And it was a turning point for me because I learned so many lessons from that singular event, and I shared this with my audience, and it just blew, like the story just blew everywhere. I said there were so many responses, so many reactions, so many reposts, and some people found it really funny because of the way I described the way I was running kitty kata from the situation and how I ran into the bush. At that time it wasn't funny, but thank God that I am here now. It ended up becoming a very funny story. Anyway, so I shared it with the audience and it really resonated with me. The amazing thing is that this particular story, I didn't even add a CTA. So a CTA is called a call to action. For people that are selling their products or services, after every post, it's required that you put a call to action, also known as CTA. The idea behind it is you tell your audience to come and buy what you're selling, either your services or your products. That particular day, I wasn't even in the mood. I didn't put any CTA, nothing at all. Now, that particular story was where the shift happened. Remember, the first structure is the moment before, and the second is the shift. So we are moving on to the result. So stay with me so that you can hear the complete way and strategy this can also work for you. Clear content, that post was a serious shift for me because there were so many replies, so many responses. But there was one particular lady, a lady that replied, and she said, "Your post made me cry. I want to work with you. Tell me how." And this is me that did not even sell anything. I was even frustrated. I was tired. I didn't put a call to action as usually is expected. She just expressed how my story touched an emotion in her. You know what it is for someone to read your content and start crying? Like, I was blown away. So she said it made her cry and she wants to work with me. I should tell her how. That was a game changer for me. And just like that, it hit me that day that stories sell before you even start selling, before you even start advertising your product or your service. Your story starts selling for you before you even open your mouth. So I know you're going to be wondering that, okay, you told a story, yes, what next? What's the lesson here? Like, why is it important to us? And I'll tell you why telling a story is very, very important and the results that you get. Real, it was vulnerable, it was value packed, it showed my pain at that time, which was also the pain of my target audience. It showed my desire at the time, which was also the desire of my target audience. So this means that your story should always be real. That's even the most important thing, not fake. It should be real, it should be vulnerable, and we're not talking about you sharing the worst kind of secret you've ever had. It's not every story you need to share in public. We can always talk about that in another content video. So it was real, it was vulnerable, it was value packed. So the story has to also be relevant to the people that are listening to you. So if it's not relevant, they can't resonate with it. Also, it showed that I was an expert in my field without me necessarily advertising that, hey, I'm an expert, I have so many years in doing this or so many years in doing that. The way I shared the story and how I tied lessons to it and the essence of what I was trying to say, my audience understood me perfectly. Not everyone, but my audience. And that's the kind of story I help my clients craft. Because when somebody sees themselves in your story, you don't really need to say too much. You don't really need to try to be too salesy or try to force them to buy your product or service or try to convince them against their will. It's just a matter of you having a particular pain, being able to solve that pain or overcome that pain and speaking about the pain, and then your audience also feels, oh yes, that means you really understand what they're also currently going through and you have the expertise to help them through that situation. Now, I hear you say, oh, can this work in my niche? Storytelling works in any niche. As long as there's a problem that you're solving, as long as there's a pain point you're attending to, storytelling works. It helps your brand, it positions your brand and makes your brand more relatable and emotional. Because trust me, people are tired of facts and figures. They are tired of in 1962, in 1975, in 1900. People want to feel more emotionally connected to you, your service, your brand, your offer. So at the end of the day, the best way to communicate what you can solve is by giving stories, examples, testimonials, case studies of how you've been able to take people from a pain point 0 to a position of 100% or almost 100% where they are now comfortable. So if you're selling a pair of shoes, or you're selling bags, or you're selling clothes, you're selling electronical devices, whatever it is you are selling, be it inanimate objects or animate objects, services, products, storytelling can apply. Whatever industry, whatever niche, all you need to do is to be able to structure and strategically craft your brand story to suit the pain point, what's the solution that service or product can give. Now, not features. Everybody already knows the features standard. However, you have to be able to interpret the solution using storytelling. If you've been posting content and for some reason the content is not converting, yes, your clients like you, but even upon the fact that they like you, they're still not paying for your services. Or even if they're paying, they're not paying the worth or the value of your services. Then it's time for you to switch from content, mere content, to story strategy. So I host classes regularly where I teach people how to create their own brand stories. And yes, no matter how small you think your brand is, your brand needs to have its own story, because that's what clients rely on. That's what clients want to hear. So I host classes regularly. I have pre-recorded classes also. I can share the link with you if you're interested, or better still, you can join my brand story school Telegram group, where I share weekly free tips, story scripts, strategies on how you can position yourself and your brand better. So if you are interested, you just drop a comment for me and I'll send you the link so you can join. So let's make your story to start selling for you and just save you the stress of chasing after sales.